Hey everybody. I've been watching a lot of videos recently, like just a lot. And it seems that most of the people that I watch have done a why I'm an atheist, how I became an atheist, or whatever. So I figured, what the hell, I'll do mine. Um, I've pretty much always been an atheist. And this fellow right here, Batman, is the reason why. Um, when I was very young, I think I was 4 or 5 years old, um, Batman was like my favorite thing ever. To the point where um, my grandmother made me two Batman costumes so that my mom could get me out of one to wash the other one that she made me earlier. Because that was the only clothes I would wear was my Batman costume. I had a little hoodie that I didn't, put my arms through the sleeves or zip up. I just tied the hood around and a little mask, like the domino mask, not a full thing, but anyway, and a t-shirt or a sweatshirt with the Batman symbol on it, um, the whole 9 yards. And at about that time, my parents, I'm pretty sure it was my dad making the decision for my mother, um, decided we needed to start going to church. And I think actually, yeah, we started going to church before I got my Batman costume. And I don't remember the exact time frame, but shortly thereafter I started wearing my Batman all the time. And there's actually a reason for that that I'm not going to go into right now. Um, and after about mm, probably 3 months of church every Sunday and sometimes on Wednesday night, because we were Baptists, or my parents are Baptists, um, they asked my mom to not bring me to Sunday school anymore because I was a distraction for the other kids, which, freaking 4-year-olds. Sunday school was recess, with the Noah's Ark story and all that other stuff. It couldn't have been anything important. I mean, unless you're, a nut job. Um, but after about 3 or 4 months, they asked my mom to quit bringing me to church, period, because I refused to take off my Batman costume. And whenever any person of any type, actually, because come to think of it, even when kids would ask me my name, I would say, I'm Batman, I'm Batman, because I was obsessed. And adults would ask me, I'd do it. I'd say I was Batman. I'd run around doing that no stuff because that was the Batman I knew. I mean, that was TV. I mean, so anyway, since my parents couldn't take me to church anymore, they started foisting me off on my grandparents, my mother's mother and her, if I remember correctly, the grandpa I knew was like her third husband. But I didn't really know any different. He was my grandpa, and he was awesome. Um, Before and after World War II, he ran the projection booth at a movie theater in New York. Um, and I, to this day, don't know how he managed to keep copies or have the equipment to show me these movies. This was 1970, 71. Um, so I grew up thinking, first off, that we were still fighting World War II because on the news they would show Vietnam. But my grandfather was showing me movies and newsreels about World War II. I thought that comedians and actors from the 30s and 40s were still alive and making movies and being on TV and things like that. But that's, I mean, that's part of it. This is the same grandpa that had this huge pinup collection. You know, I mean, like Elfgren, Petty, Vargas. I mean, just tons, literally tons. Well, not literally, but hundreds of pinup posters that he had in his workshop. Grandpa was a backyard tinkerer. He had a workshop out in the backyard of the house, and that is where I learned to ask the most important questions ever. You ask why, where, how. And that's what led me to ask those questions when he died a few years later. No one could explain to me why he died other than he got old. No one could explain to me, you know, what happened after we died. And I'm like 9 or 10 at this point. So, you know, I'm starting to get my faculties together. And I actually started reading the Bible. And it just didn't make any sense. But I never told anyone, except my geeky friends later on in junior high, you know, age 12, 13, 14. But we were all a bunch of D&D nerds anyway. So, excuse me. But that's what made me an atheist, was my grandfather, my step-grandpa. He was an awesome guy. As far as I know, the only time he went to a church was when he got married and for his funeral. And I didn't even go to the service for his funeral when I died. Wow, I'm a zombie. And I still to this day don't know why my family didn't want me there. Like I said, I was 9 or 10. But you know, I mean, I wasn't the only grandchild that didn't go. In fact, I don't think any of us went. I think my oldest cousin, who was like, she's like 5 or 6 years older than me, stayed at grandma's house with me and her little sister. And I can't remember if my other cousins from my mom's other sister were there or not, but I don't like them anyway, never have. That's pointless to even bring up. But reading the Bible, even at 10 years old, there was just so much in there that didn't make sense. This was not even like the regular Bible. This was a children's Bible. So, you know, all the really horrible crap was taken out. And it was written in modern American English. Couple of years after that, and during that time frame, my parents quit going to church. I don't know what happened, or you know why, or whatever. Where was I? Oh yeah. A couple of years after that, you know, beginning of junior high, I decided, okay, I need to actually read a real Bible. So I went through, and that, you know, full of evil Old Testament stuff, which turned me off to the Torah, which I tried to read an English translation of that, realized, you know, for the most part, it's pretty much the Old Testament. So I was like, okay, I don't need to believe in the Jewish God, because that doesn't make any sense either. Read the King James, I don't know which translation, but I read the King James Bible. Didn't make any sense. Again, didn't really tell anybody, but sitting around with my D&D friends, it's like, you know, well, why? Because we were all a bunch of nerds, like I said earlier. Why is Zeus a myth and God is real? That just doesn't make any sense. So we started exploring history and things like that because we were a bunch of nerds. throughout high school, that was just, oh, forgot something. Around the age of 14 or 15, so either 8th grade or ninth grade, I can't remember exactly, I went back to church, but not for any religious reasons at all, really. There was a girl across the street, and she was drop dead hot, and she went to church. So I got it into my mind, hey, if I go to church, hang out with her, we'll have something in common. And because we went to the same school, but she was a grade behind me. So yeah, I was 15. Yeah, she was 14. So we didn't have any classes together or anything, and we didn't go to leave for school or come home at the same time either. So I started going to church to get under this girl's skirt, and it worked, which was really awesome. But then through high school, religion wasn't really a matter of any kind of importance. By then, I had pretty much established that while I wasn't sure what I believed, I wasn't sure. I was an agnostic. After high school, there was college, and I kind of latched on to Norse paganism in my agnosticism from the concept of Asgard and Valhalla. Because if there is an afterlife, that's where I want to go. I mean, partying all the time? Are you kidding me? Drinking, eating, carousing with wenches? Fuck yes. I don't have faith. I have hope. Um, and so, I mean, I don't have any faith in any belief system. I hope that Valhalla is real and that's where I get to go. If there is an afterlife, I don't really expect that there is, but it's a fun little thing to hang on to. So, and then after college, I've always just been a quiet atheist, I guess, until the invention of the internet and the small social circles that I have been part of basically since the late 90s. And only really if somebody ever brought up religion and how it should, run everybody's life or whatever. And that's just, complete bullshit. Because I'm more interested in justice than pretty much what anyone has to believe. Because if Christians are against the concept of Sharia law, which I am, but I'm also against the concept of Christian law, because who gets to decide which version of Christianity, first off, or any other belief system? I mean, okay, let's make America a theocracy, which the teabaggers are seeming to try to do. Let's choose Norse paganism. Yeah, let's go that route. See, nobody's going to want to do that. And I think I'm running out of time here. So yeah, that's how Batman turned me into an atheist. Yay, Batman!